Okay, welcome to the second part here, second chapter, or second module here, formulas and functions. So to start out with, we'll talk about a few different things. One is selecting a range. Now we've selected things before, but if you select a range, all it simply means is clicking inside to get this white plus sign. Clicking, holding, and dragging would be selecting a range. Now we also said we could do the exact same thing by typing in B4 with a colon and then E4 and pressing enter, and it would select the same exact thing as well. So either way is your choice. Sometimes when you do this, though, you see this little piece that pops up here. This is called the Quick Analysis Toolbar. And there's a shortcut for it. You can see Control Q when you scroll over it. That's a shortcut key if you want to use that. If you click on it, it gives you things that you can do very quickly or not quickly. It's up to you guys, really. But in formatting, you can make all these different things. And we will be talking about these things in the future. You could create charts. You can make totals, tables when we get to that, and spark lines. So totals are really nice because I can sum these things. Average, count, percentages. I can do all these types of calculations for me. Now the thing is, though, if you want to keep going, see how this was going to sum, and it showed just below in this area what the total was going to be. It's because it's summing on the bottom row. If I go to this one here, though, however, it's on the right-hand side, and therefore it is summing on the right-hand side in this piece. That's going to be the one you want to use. So if you press that, now you have a sum, and its actual function equals sum, everything from B4 to E4. This is very handy to use it this way. There's also the other way that you guys can do this, which you already tried over here. The summation, you go to sum, and it says, is this the values that you want to sum? And you say yes, you press enter. Another thing you can do is go up to the F of X button, or the insert function, and it automatically puts an equals here for you, and it looks for the most recently used. T-test, sum, average, if. These are things that I've used on this particular computer before. So I'm going to click sum. It says adds all the number in a range of cells. If you don't want that, you could always type it in, or at least a description, add things up or something. Okay, let's try that actually, see what happens. So add cells and see what pops up. Sum if and sum decount, that's all in here. So I want sum. Press OK. It's going to say, is this what you want for adding? F4 to F5 above it. The answer is no. I don't want that. So number one I'm going to put is from here across, right? And it could stay in number one because I'm actually having that whole group or that whole range is being added together. So that's okay. And you can see your answer is always going to be down here. This is called a function arguments dialog box. This is very helpful because it gives you hints as to what you want to do. And lastly, if you just start typing equals SU, you're getting these things that are coming up here. M, open up a set of parentheses. It says number one, number two, number three. You can grab them this way. Make sure you always close your parentheses. Or if you do it, you can actually start the function, type it either in the formula bar, or after the fact, you can press this button, and it automatically pops you up into this function argument box. Very, very useful no matter what way. So any way of those are great for doing any sort of totals or inserting any functions. Again, right now there's nothing in here, so that's fine. So I could grab all of these at once, in fact, and oops, sorry. I can grab all of these at once, and I'm going to go to sum. And right now you can see it's adding B4 to B11, C4 to C11, D4 to D11. One quick way, an easy way to see this is actually pressing the Control and the tilde button. If you press and hold Control and press tilde, you end up getting this view which shows you all formulas. It's actually really nice. So you can see if you screwed up on anything, if you made a mistake, okay, anywhere, you highlight over it and you'll see it. Makes it very, very easy for you. Press Control and tilde again, and it goes back to normal. Okay. Other things that, I'm going to skip this rise for a second here. For this is still a function, equals, if you're not sure what it is, you start typing AV average. Sounds good to me. And it says returns the average arithmetic mean of its arguments. Sounds good. That's what I want. Double click it and you get the average. And if I want to, again, I can click up to f of x. Average of what numbers? Okay. The average of those numbers. Okay. And here we are. The nice thing about these functions and formulas too is that you can drag these and move these. These are all using relative references. Okay. Relative references mean with respect to this cell, I'm using certain ones above it or to the side of it or below it. So if I click this and drag it, this function is moved one cell over, but it was using 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 7 after that. So 11 cells and 4 cells above it all the way through. This one follows the same pattern. This one follows the same pattern. So that's the good part about that stuff, is it all follows patterns. Now if I wanted to drag this down, for example, look what happened. It cut out Australia and it added the total. Why? Because I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 cells above the one I'm in. Okay? This one too. It cuts out the top two and it includes a blank one. Why? Because this cell says I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 above it and then going from there. So you want to be very careful as to how you do these things. For example, let me delete these. If I were to try to do that, we would have to do what's called absolute referencing, which absolute reference means it will absolutely never change. It is stuck in place. So what you're going to do is you can press the F4 button and get these dollar signs next to it. Okay? If you want, you could type the dollar signs. It's not a problem. But ultimately, the first dollar sign says the B is going to stay. The second dollar sign says the number is 4 is going to stay. This one says the B is going to stay. This one says the 11 is going to stay. Okay. Now, after I've already moved across, that's fine, because I just wanted to show this one thing down here. If I drag this down, they're all using the same pieces now. Okay. Same thing here. It's correctly using the same pieces because I basically said, hey, these cells here, they're stuck. It's like you used super glue or something on them, okay? They can't move once you put the dollar signs in it. And that's a good thing. Now, obviously, we don't want average. I want maximum and minimum. Other ways to do this, you can just literally change just the function piece. Max. If you're not sure if it was maximum or max, you start typing. This is all you have. This returns the largest value. Sounds good to me. Press enter. And now it's the maximum. Okay. This one right here, minimum. Well, let's start typing minimum. They don't have minimum, but they have min, which says returns the smallest number. Looks good to me. So the highest, the smallest, the average. Oops. Thoughts? Okay. Now again, with these things, because they are absolute referenced, if I try to drag this across, it's not going to do anything because that's still referencing these pieces. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do instead for these things is I'm going to show you another way to go to formulas and insert functions from this. Okay. So you could use math, financial, recently used. You could do things inside of here. Again, the formula tab, function library. Click on financial. You could see a lot of different things in here. We're going to get to things like IPMT, PPMT in here. But you'll see this recently used, obviously, is whatever we used recently. Logical, ands, ifs, ors. We're going to use these things in this course as well. Text. We're not going to use that too much. Date and time. Math and trig. So this is the funny part. Math and trig, you would think that doing the minimum, maximum, average, things like that should be in here. But what it's actually going to be in is, if you click on more functions, statistical is going to do the average. Okay? That's where a lot of that stuff's going to be. Counting, minimum, maximum, median, those are going to be in the statistical piece. So if I want the max function, I click on the max function, and where are my numbers that I want to mess with? Well, I'm going to grab all of those. Okay, and again, you can absolute reference it if you choose or not. That's fine. It's up to you guys. I'm going to not this time because I would like to be able to drag this across. And as I drag it without absolute referencing, it moves as I go. See? And I'll do the same thing for minimum, more functions, statistical, and min. It's going to say, what do you want the minimum of? It guesses if it's near anything. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Click OK. And we'll drag that one across too. And again, you can see that it's moving as we move. Okay. Still good so far? All right, I'm going to pause at that point then, and we'll pick up in a second.